We're going to get to a scenario where we're going to limit divorce cases, because what is the point of learning or just knowing the things that you need to know before you say I do, only to get in there and then divorce at some point in time. So are we guaranteed that this would be helpful to evade cases of divorce?
To evade, yes, if you're a good learner. There are people who have made up their minds, I'm going to learn, I'm going to change, or I'm going to work on this, and there are people who already know before you tell them. So if you choose to be a learner, you will surely be assisted.
All right. We have a guarantee that this will reduce, now that we cannot say in totality will lack cases of divorce.
You see, guarantee is based on your absorption ability. And not only absorption, but also your ability to act. You know, we have so many people who listen, but they don't do what they're told. So, but if you do what you're told, you'll surely be guaranteed to have a smooth ride. What
if you do what you're told and your partner does not do or does not complement what you are doing?
I say this, all it takes is for one stick to be straight. And the crooked stick
will align to this one.
Will align itself.
Is it so?
Yeah.
All right, so then we have all reasons whatsoever to get into this lesson this morning. Before I say I do, or before you say I do. So I was looking at the papers and boom, I landed onto this article on the Daily Nation that speaks of this woman who, Karemi Gatimi, quite a household name, and she says what to look for in a future husband. Well, I'd want to say that this in a huge way aligns to the topic of the day. That before you say I do, then first of all you have to look at the qualities of the woman or the man that you're involving yourself with. So what are some of these things that you need to look for in a partner before now you decide that, yes, I'm settling with this person, but before I say I do?
Yeah, I think for me, number one, I'm going to talk of character, because many times our focus is on different things. Huu kijana kona mistari, huu dema kona figa. All those things will not sustain for too long. And that's not foundational enough for you to base a relationship, because both those two could and may fade away. And they may not sustain in the hard area. So number one, I talk of character. What kind of a person do you want? Do you want a person perhaps who has the figure but will be shouting at you in front of your boss, in front of your friends, in front of your parents? And I say, I have a right, to say what I want to say. So it's the character of the person, both male and female. What kind of a person are you looking for?
How much privilege of time, Daktari, do we have to learn the characters of a person? I'm normally told that you do not get to learn this person even 6 or 7 years into marriage.
You see, marriage is a lifetime of learning.
Yeah.
But there are those basic things that you can't hide forever. You see, by the time somebody meets you or you meet someone, you'll definitely begin to see some of the things that they do. For example, if you are in a bus, the way they respond to when they are asked for maybe for fare, or when they are demanding for their change. If they are in a restaurant, how they treat the waiters and all that, you will be able to see some of these things coming up. You cannot be, even if you have a perfect makeup of character when you're in front of people, because there are people who can act. There are quite some good actors. But somehow something will break. I like what one guy said. If you want to know your person very well, put them in front of a very, very slow responding computer. You will see them begin to behave in a, smashing, this thing is not working. But a slow person will begin to look for solutions. You'll be able to see.
Well, that's an interesting way to look at things. But well, you people, please do not lie to us, because looking at the couple in you two, I mean, there was some bit of due diligence that was done, but not necessarily due diligence. Let's just say there was some bit of, outward appearance thing that was done properly. And so you cannot come here to tell us that don't go for the tall, dark and handsome, yet you have played your cards right.
No.
There's an importance in that.
No. I don't say don't go for what your eyes will be pleased with. But what I say is, it does not sustain for long. Because there are times you see weddings and in the photos they look just a perfect couple. The guy is just it, the lady is just it, and then 2 years down the line they just don't even seem to cope. So I say yes, that's important, because number one, there's the attractive factor. So attraction is very important, even to retain and sustain. But I say beyond the eyes, beyond the attraction, beyond the money to buy you coffee, and money is very important, to be coming to all those, will also be coming to money. Number one thing that I lay the greatest weight is the character of a person. For example, there are people who tell me, you know, when we were dating, he was still dating other girls. But you went on and married him?
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I would change him. And you're thinking, really? That was already an eye-opener into his character. There is not a straightforward person. He cannot be able to keep one. So why did you move to that? Because you know of the way he used to love me. That's why I've come to boil everything down to this one thing, the character of a person. And there are people who say, you know, even before he got married, he used to slap me. When we were dating, he used to slap me. So why were you being slapped? Because he thought he needed to correct me. I mean, these are some indicators that are red flags. Early enough, they should tell you, this person does not have the character that you desire and demand for a successful marriage. So that's why I say, and I would always say this, number one, is the person reliable? Is he trustworthy? Does a person have, what do we call, a peaceful heart? You know, there are people who have everything together, but they'll flare up like a bomb. Does a person, you know, does a person have respect for elders? Does he respect his family? Because if he does not respect the women on the way, at a mama nafuanguo, he will not respect you, also a woman.
Okay.
And vice versa. Does a lady know how to address a man? Does she understand the codes of humility, of ethics, of submission? Does she understand who she is in her place without being shaken? Or does she feel like, you know, ukiniongelesha pia mimi nakuongelesha? I'm talking about the cases that we've sat down with when the marriages were breaking and you've had to work so hard to try and put them back together. And you look at the foundation, number one reason why marriages break, yes, there are other reasons. But when we come to character, you hear of ladies who are talking to men like they're their children. These are things you detect before you say, I do.
Okay, hold it right there. Then who is going to take these ones that are detested, these ones that appear not to be good? But even before you answer that, then I'd want to assume that there needs to be a lot of time that is put into understanding your man or your woman before you get to that point where you say that, yes, officially we are engaged and then we are headed to marriage. And therefore, courtship then is important?
Very, very, very important, because courtship is what gives you the ability to learn by seeing, because courtship is about seeing, is about listening, is about asking. And so you are able to observe a few things. Even the way somebody spends money when they are with you. You know, there is somebody who will spend all his money on you, then walk home, suffer because of they're trying to impress you.
Yeah.
Now, if that person is trying to win you by hiding, then the day he becomes revealed to you, the real person becomes revealed to you, then you might be shocked of what you see. Courtship is a time when you ask questions. And one thing I've discovered is that a lot of people don't ask questions. And you see, when even in any organization, when you want to hire a person and a serious seat, you will see the panelists will ask a lot of questions. We have seen judges being asked questions concerning things they have done or some they have not done, and they still are required to answer those questions. But you find when it comes to dating, many of us are scared of asking, or we don't even know what to ask. You find somebody later saying, hey, sikujua alikuwa na mtoto. And it was your responsibility. It is what we call buyer beware. You have to ask, if it's a lady, do you have a child? Have you ever aborted? Ask that question. Because one day it may come to a situation where she's not getting a baby.
How do you do that without being insensitive?
Let me tell you something. You have
scaring them away.
Let me tell, if somebody will be scared to tell you the truth, one day the truth may come out in a wrong way. When she can't have a baby after another, then one, you are beginning to ask yourself, then you hear it probably from a friend. The reason why she's not getting a baby is because she had an abortion. Now, if you really, that is your key, that you need to get babies in the future, because there are people who marry with the intention of getting babies, then you need to ask some of these questions. You need to ask this guy, do you have kids outside there?
Okay.
Not when you are 50, then you are celebrating something, then somebody is coming to demand maybe for a piece of land from you, and you have labored for so long. So you will know what you are getting into. Because if you don't know what you're getting into, then you may be shocked when you discover some of these things. I believe the time of courtship is a time of asking questions, not just going for coffee dates, visiting one another, doing the good things, always the right step. It is time where the rubber meets the road. You begin to ask the deep things. And if a person gets irritated by what you're asking, then that person may be hiding something, or maybe a person who may be very rude in the near future. And if somebody has got something to hide, they may not come out openly. But if I have nothing to hide and I'm asked, do you have any child? I'll be able to say comfortably, I don't have any. Have you ever done 1, 2, 3 things? I have never done. But if I have done, I will be able to say, yes, I have done this, but I changed. And nobody is condemned for having done some things if they changed. But if they are hiding, that means it may come out in a very, very wrong way. So I would challenge, if you are courting, then it is a high time you began to ask those questions that are in your heart, because I believe hakuna mtu fanya courting akiwa na maswali.
Wanjiko Njeri asks, I am in a relationship for quite a while right now, but it's a long distance because my partner stays abroad. How then do I get to know of his characters with all this distance?
Yeah, it's also important to understand the dynamics of long distance relationships. Many times, long distance relationships, people tend perhaps to have met, then one partner left, or perhaps they met online and they're expecting the partner to come and marry them. Nowadays, life is easy, life is near you because you've got the social media space. You can be able to chat this person, and as Dr. was saying, get a moment to discuss the deep things. Number one, finances. You see his reaction towards finances. Get to know, how do you spend your finances. Get to understand from him, who is your mentor couple. Because 90% of people who are about to get married should have a mentor couple. He may be away, but he could be having a mentor couple. And the mentor couple will do a very good job. And number 4, talk to him about, are you planning for us to have children in the future? The two of you have enough open-minded conversation. There is a lot you can do, Zoom, you can do anything. And what Dr. said, I support, ask the hard questions. Ask the hard questions, and also you do your thorough investigation. Why do I talk of thorough investigation? Long ago, the reason why divorces were fewer is because if a lady said, I want to marry a man from, I want to get married, or a man reported, I want to marry a lady from Kinagop or from Siaya, men would send a group to Siaya.
That's true.
Around that area to know, how does this family behave? How does it relate to people? Are there histories of madness? And again, is a man married? Because there are many cases where we've got men who are already married, trying to woo around a girl who is not married, and later there is regret. So or they waste their time. What I'm saying is, even you use your own wisdom to spy. You don't need to send elders. Use your own wisdom to spy and get to know, who is this man. Befriend his sisters. Befriend the mother. Go see her more often than not. Go randomly. Yes, and you get to know whether there is a person around who looks, a small child who looks like him. So yeah, just befriend them. Befriend the family, and also have your open conversations and encourage him to have a mentor couple.
We are in this space where we respect other people's spaces, and we respect, you know, what it is that one person does, what they like, what they do not like. And in as much as we are so much into the world of love, sometimes we're told, you know what, do not just march into it. And in fact, men would tell you they hate that. Randomly you just said, babe, I'm here. Why don't you tell me throughout the day that, well, I'll be visiting, I'll be showing up. If you don't have the key, if you have the key, it depends on how you look at it. So how do you do all this without appearing as though you're disrespecting this person? Because then that would also be a turn-off, and you might end up losing a very good person just because you were trying to be a little bit nosy for your own good.
Let me tell you, being nosy is not a bad thing when you're courting. Because if somebody begins to hate the reality that you appear, maybe you have just appeared, then they could be hiding something. I always look at the way people are excited. If you have, your date has come to see you, there is always an aura of excitement
if you
love that person.
Yeah.
But if you're hiding something, you'll find there is a level of agitation. And so I say, this is not about your now, it is about your future. And if that person gets so annoyed when you check on them, then tomorrow you may do the same thing. Even in that marriage, you may ask a few questions and you discover maybe he or she is very agitated. So I value the personal space. But when it comes to marriage, you are going to be living together anyway. So one thing that will disappear is your personal space, maybe. And so there is a need for you to do all you can. If it is you who is going to appear, if it is you who is going to ask a few friends, just check on this guy, let me know deep about this person. You may know some information that you may be able to ask directly, because there are people who you may ask questions and they may tell you, yes, he has 2 or 3 girlfriends, or he had. And when you ask him and he tells you it is true, I had 2 or 3, then you realize that this is a person who is honest. They are not lying about it. And so I would say, when it comes to the issue of personal space, yes, it is valuable to respect personal spaces, but there are moments where your instinct will tell you, go now. There are people who have visited and they just discovered a girl was leaving. I had one case where somebody said, I visited, this gentleman would never allow me to visit their place.
Okay.
And when she once did, she discovered there were photos. And she could not ask because this person was too rough when it comes to issues of asking. And so she left it that way, only later to discover that this was a girlfriend who he had. And because he respected him, they got married and eventually ended up in divorce because that woman never left the space.
And true to it, men are known to be very good at camouflaging. Women, I'm told, are even worse if you get the smart ones. So they camouflage, you are in a relationship and you are deeply in love, and then you realize something that is really not straight. How do you get yourself, how do you gather yourself to a point where you can say, it's all right, I'll overlook love and let go of this? How do you manage it? Because I want to imagine that case is a scenario where you were so deeply in love and therefore you'd rather overlook everything for the sake of love.
Yeah, and you know what, one thing I say, the moment you decide, this is a gentleman I want to get married to, have a mentor, have somebody who can be able to walk through with you, and a mature person who you can talk to. A person of reason. Because, you know, for that girl, she didn't act on reason, she acted on instinct. You know, my heart tells me I can still go on. But there was reason enough to show her this gentleman is not straight. And you know, most of them, when they are caught, you know, red-handed, they act out anger.
Right.
So perhaps she was angry because, you know, like 90% the Kawe is I'll act out anger. So perhaps she didn't want the anger thing, but it doesn't solve a problem. At the end of the day, you discover the lady one day will walk out. One day.
Okay.
So what do I tell ladies? Do this. Walk out with wisdom. Have a mentor who you can walk or talk to, because these are so common cases.
Right.
So common. You know, I was remembering of a case I sat and had a similar conversation. The lady knew there was somebody, and she had been told there was somebody. And she kept saying, no, he can't do this to me. Finally, she just walked out. And you know, when she talked to the guy was so angry. Later in the marriage, she walked out. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is this. Get somebody with a reason to tell you it's time to pack your bags and go. I said according to psychology, the first 8 months, you don't think.
Okay.
You don't
meet
think.
And you all...
No, the blood does not even flow at the frontal lobe of the brain when that name is mentioned. So this is the reasoning part. You're not able to reason. Get a reasoning partner. It could be your sister, your cousin, somebody who means well for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means courtship should take approximately how long?
Well, you know, there's no set time, but I think 2 years would be good enough.
Wow, 2 good years.
2 years would be.
If you this time and age, man, atapitwa mtu mwingine atamchukua bana.
Kama ni wakuchukuliwa
atachukuliwa by the way.
Because angechukuliwa even after marriage.
That's true.
You get my point?
Yes.
Even after marriage, bado angechukuliwa. In actual fact, that is the acid test. Are you going to wait? And are you going to wait for those 2 years? Because you cannot act for long enough. You can't act for long enough. Within perhaps the first 6, 7, 8 months, your right foot will be at the right place, your left foot at the right place.
And therefore,
but 1 year down the line and a half, you have forgotten where the feet were supposed to be. They're back to where they used to be.
Okay.
And so that's why I keep telling people, you cannot act for too long. Just have that courtship for about 2 years. I would rather take another extra year than divorce for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's quite a crazy one. And to imagine 2 years of having to wait, wale watoto wa siku hizi ambao wako na haraka sana, it's really, it's quite a toll for them. So we're all about understanding what you need to know, what you need to do before you say I do. Keep dropping your comments or your questions. We get to ask the specialist here. #Morning Cafe at Linda_Alela TV 47KE. We take a quick break and then we come back and understand some more on that.
You see the woman you keep on admiring? They might be going through the same pain that you're going through right now, the same grief that you're going through now, or even the same disease that you are suffering with right now.
Why can't I see clearly?
But the only difference between you and them is that, yes, they cried, but they managed to learn through the pain and they came out as conquerors.
I stayed for like 2 years without having a job. I cannot even do a simple thing like taking a shower.
So Joy, you can imagine every day you're waking up, going to work, and knowing for sure, you have a dead baby.
Join me each and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on 19 with Joy Irungu here on TV 47.
At Global Precast Panels, we have the best quality, durable, and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns, and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient for story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
These are the sights and sounds of a working nation. There are no shortages to remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them.
You need to stay relevant. If you don't, you're going to fade off.
Yes, they are a dime in a dozen, but the real meat on these bones comes from trying to realize them.
You just need to perfect anything. If it's drawing, if it's music, pursue it 100% because it's something that is giving back.
Join me, Violet Njoki, as I tell you the stories of these executed ideas, because yours could be next. Mondays, 7:30 p.m.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Well, the speaker is neither here nor there.
I should have done my outro from here.
Yes, I don't know.
And we're just like that. I look beautiful.
Tune in to Morning Cafe, Mondays to Fridays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. with me, Linda Alela, only on TV47, the home of Untold Stories.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongee zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
TVET sector.
You are watching TV47, the home of Untold Stories.
All right, still with me, Dr. Julius Kimani and Dr. Jane Kimani, as we look at what are some of the things that you need to know or to do before you say, I do. On that very note, we've touched on a couple of things. Maybe I should have started by just asking them, what are some of these things that actually we need to know? But allow me to ask these questions that you have asked and I am asking too before we get to learning the key things that need to be known. And I ask this, what happens to this person who has a bad character? And now you have realized that he has a bad character, so you drop him. Who is going to love them anyway?
No, let me tell you, once man meat is another man's poison.
Okay.
There's somebody else who will feel like this is a kind of a person now. Do you know there are people who are attracted to the bad boy?
Okay.
And there are people who are very attracted to the rough woman.
And they know how to handle them.
And they know how to handle them. And kind of like the maker equipped them for that one.
Okay.
But if you're not equipped for that one, you will live subdued. And you'll never attain to the fullness of your purpose.
Yes.
Why? Because there is somebody who is beating down on what you want to do. But if you're equipped for that one, even if they arise, you know how to take it easy and how to calm them down. Yeah, so it is not that this person is a bad one. And again, for some of them, what they need is more time to polish up and more genuine friends who are brutally honest, and perhaps a mentor who can tell them the truth and tell them, I don't like the fact that you talk very rudely. You're rude. You know, in a generation of flattery, everything is okay, it's good, it's cool. No, tell a friend, you know you're good and I like you as you are, but I just wish that you tone down a bit. You're a bit rude. And yes, it may not impact them very well, but in future, the nearest future, you'll find them beginning to change.
All right.
So I think people are who they are because people tend to flatter them in their negative character. So when the right person comes, he'll tell them, you know what? He'll tell her, you know what? I like you, but I don't like the way you talk. Kindly tone down that tongue.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a very beautiful person, but I don't like the way you reply to the makanga, to the waiters, to the waitresses. Somebody need actually to have a friend who can tell them the truth before you say I do. Yeah, somebody who can just tell you the truth and you can ask them and tell them, give me the brutal truth. Perhaps you'll be told you're too proud to submit, or you're too proud to have a woman. You're too this, you're too stingy with money. Because at times we don't know ourselves, but there are friends who are like mirrors. And you know, if your spouse to be tells you that, at times people carry offense. But your sister could tell you, no, you're very stingy.
Okay.
And those things we keep hearing about ourselves that we do not like, it's a high time we paid attention to them. Because if you pay attention to them, perhaps that is what will change you to be a better person. Perhaps you keep saying, oh, I don't know why people say I look proud. People don't say you look proud. You actually are proud.
Okay.
That is it. And perhaps that's why you're not yet married.
So do you change just to please people?
No, you change because you need to be a better you.
Okay. All right. Well, then speaking of you, and sometimes when we say before you say I do, you start thinking of, oh, this other party, what is he, what is she not doing, what is she supposed to do? And for a moment we tend to forget what we need to polish about ourselves, so that we say, I am ripe and I'm ready and I think I can say I do. So what are some of these things that we need to look into ourselves, to say that, well, straighten this before you get somebody else coming to align to you?
True. Linda, I think I always like referring to organizations. When you're looking for a job, you have to prepare yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be the right person for the job. But when it comes to marriage, you find people are looking for people who are not, you find somebody who wants to get married with all their weaknesses without polishing anything. You want to get married and you have a nasty tongue. So we usually say, don't look for the right person, be the right person.
Okay.
Look at yourself and begin to ask yourself, what am I offering to the other person who comes into my life? Now, there's also something that we call self-awareness. You have to know who you are. You have to be aware of who you are so that you can be able to be a better person. You have to do a serious analysis, and as Dr. was saying, ask your friends, who do people, even Jesus asked that question, who do people say I am? So that you can find. I remember one time in college, a friend of mine, we were in class together, and I remember a friend of mine just told me, you need to clean up the way sometimes you talk. Sometimes you are too hard, and it was such a revealing moment, because I've not heard it from anybody else. And so you need to ask some of your friends very genuinely, how do I come through when it comes to some issues? So be ready. If you want to get married, be ready then to be a wife. If you want to marry, then be ready to be a husband. Understand that you will be a provider. Know what you're supposed to provide. You're supposed to provide love. You're supposed to provide security. Are you ready to actually provide some of those things? If you are going to be a priest, a man is supposed to be a priest. Are you ready even to pray one short prayer for your wife? Sometimes one of the things that I do, especially when you're doing counseling, when we end it all, I usually tell the man, you've got to pray for your wife. And sometimes you see the shock on some men because they have never prayed for their wives. So you need to ask yourself, am I ready to be the provider, to be the protector, to be the priest of the home? As a woman, the word of God says, he who finds a wife. Am I a wife? Because no man is looking for a girl. They are looking for a wife. You need to ask yourself, am I a wife? Can I really submit? And if you can't, then you need to begin to work on it. So that whoever comes into your life can find a package that is not perfect, but at least you have some of the things that can be accepted.
All right, so as you say, well, I'm adjusting to this and all that. I'm being ready to being a man. I know, being ready to be that woman. Are there instances that you would tell yourself, be ready for the uncertainties of life? You know, like I can be the man. Yes, I'm ready to be the man. But then in the event that I'm not able to provide, in the event that I'm not able to offer this for my family, in the event that I'm not able to love my wife the way I'm supposed to love them, what happens?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, I tell people, before you can have the strength to handle that, deal with your baggage. The reason why people look at lives from the negative, in case I don't love, is because there's a time you were not loved, or there's a time you didn't love. And I keep telling people, before you get married, deal with your baggage, detox your spirit, detox your emotions. However, it's good to be realistic and look at instances where love dies. What happens if I don't love this person anymore? They've pushed me to the corner, and you know, what happens if I'm not able as a man to provide? That's why you need a helpmate, and that's where conversation comes in, communication with your spouse, where you tell them what would happen if I lost my job. Because that thing happens. COVID has proven that it happens. Now you begin to plan your finances early enough. Begin to plan and work on your finances early. You know, perhaps she could be telling you, I need a wedding worth 300,000. Because logic has kicked in, there's been COVID, and you don't know for how long, and perhaps the money you had saved may not take you for that long. You know, begin to trim down your budget. If you get a lady who says, I do not want a trimmed down budget, tell her to fill in the gaps.
Okay.
And that's why a woman needs to understand she comes in as a helpmate, not as a financial baggage. The days are gone. The days are gone, completely gone, when you sit home and the man has to do everything and finds you having cooked a meal and that's all, and cleaned the house. The days are here when two people have to work. So that's where now you work on your finances, you work on your midterm, long-term, short-term goals and visions financially, and how do you save your money? How much do you spend? How much do you save? Where do you invest? For example, what are the priorities? You begin to prioritize your finances. For example, you need to get a house where you don't need to pay rent. You can say in the next 5 years, we could have bought a piece of land or perhaps a house and built. So that in case of any eventuality, we don't have the fear of the landlord. What do we need to do this and this for the school of our children? Perhaps what you need to do is to start paying early for them, insurance policies that will take care of their education. So it takes now you to sit down with an open mind, the two of you, and talk. How much money do you owe anybody? How much money do I owe anybody? What do we need to pay? Perhaps you're taking a loan at the place of work and you need to sort it out. By what time? How much money do we have to spend? So when it comes to eventualities, because the not loving and all these at times is gravitated because of finances. And when finances are settled in many people's heads, they are okay. But when issues come and perhaps love has gone out of the window, is to ask yourself, what attracted me to this person?
So Mary Mukami sends a message and asks, actually complains, so to speak, that this aspect of men having the mentality that we are coming together to work as a family is what has made them run away from their responsibilities. He's supposed to provide, he's supposed to give me shelter, he's supposed to guarantee me security, and in most cases they run away from that just because a woman should as well work.
No, you know one thing, as you say, preparation is the key. And somebody who is running away from responsibility started running away a long time ago. You will see it even in dates. The guy will not buy coffee, he will not pay bus fare. If you are moving together, he will not do anything. And so you can be able to learn somebody from the beginning. Now, secondly, it is also something, there are dynamics that change marriages. You find probably you have come in together in a relationship and you are no longer heading in the same direction. So if you are, for example, there are things that may not work together. You may find one person loves to save or is a career person and the other person is a family person. So you find there could be conflicts because this other person is thinking can pay any price so that their career can advance. They can delay about having kids because they want their career. They can move to another nation simply for their career to advance. Now you've married somebody who loves the issue of family. So you'll find there could be discourse when it comes to that relationship. Somebody may begin to fall down on, not doing their responsibilities properly. But I say, as I said before, there are dynamics that cause sometimes men not to be able to provide or not to provide when competition gets into a relationship.
Okay.
Because men are naturally competitive. When a woman begins to pose as a competition, I build a house, you are running to build a house so that you can have a name and a name. So you find one realizes, okay, I have another man in the house. So what happens? You can't provide for another man. Just like we were talking in a conversation somewhere and somebody made a very nice statement that ladies should stop chasing men to marry them.
Okay.
Because it confuses them. They see, they are used to chasing women and suddenly a woman turns and begins to chase a man. It's like a lion chasing an antelope and suddenly the antelope turns and begins to chase this lion. Seriously, it will bring confusion.
Right.
So there are things, when you find competition in marriage, it may draw some people to stop providing. When there are also disagreements in relationships, where you find maybe this relationship is not going anywhere, somebody loses hope in that relationship, some people will back off from providing. There is also the aspect of responsibility, where somebody simply does not want to provide, simply because maybe they don't know how to put money together, or there is a disagreement in that relationship. So there are so many dynamics that can cause men not to provide, and it is not, I'm not advocating for them not to provide.
Yeah.
But it is important for you to sit down and ask yourself, just like she said, have a conversation. What has made you to pull back from doing this? And when you have that open conversation, then you are able to correct a lot of things in a relationship.
And therefore, how then do you deal with the unfair expectations of yourself and unfair expectations of your partner? That yes, as a woman, you march into that knowing that he has to provide. It doesn't matter whether there's a job or not. That you have to beat yourself so hard so that you can fit into the shoe of this person. How do you fix that before you get into this relationship?
There's something I want to say seriously. There's a crop that has arisen where most men are refusing to take their responsibility. And they'll give all quoted explanations. And that's why I want to say this. For the man to retain his respect, then let him do his work the way he's supposed to do it, irrespective. I don't refuse what Dr. has said, but now I'm talking from the aspect of a woman. When a woman gets into that home and when a man is ready to marry, the first thing he needs to know, yes, the woman may be working, but I need to be ready to take care of her. If you're not ready to take care of her, and perhaps she may pose competition, she may do all this, that is eventuality, pause before you marry. You'd rather marry at 80, but when you're ready. Because there's a lot of complaint of men who have become couch potatoes.
Okay.
They sit with the TV remote and the woman has to go look for school fees, and the guy says, I lost my job during COVID, or the guy says, me, I don't even like the way she talks to me. Do your work. Everything will line up. I say this, put a straight stick next to a crooked one. The crooked one will see it is crooked. That one lazima nitetewa mama, because women are getting burnt out. Because women have got the shame, they don't want to see their children out of school.
Right.
So mama anamka is working 10 times more. And because the guy has a lot of extra time, he now begins to flirt with the house help. Because, and then he says, you're not available, but she woke up early to go to a komba, get waru, auze hapo inje, because the man feels like, you know what? And when she is finally able to make some money, the man now calls it that the woman is not submissive.
Yeah.
I think there's something that needs to be put in place with the men, and I think there's need for the men mentors to arise. The way our fathers, grandfathers used to talk to the generations, that thing has been cut off. And that's why you are finding, we are even having young men who are looking for moneyed women, And they would rather, hang around a woman with money, not because they love this person, not because they have value for this person, but because they are having comfort. So also I'm telling the women, when you meet this man, stop flashing out money.
Okay.
Because now we need men and we need our sons to become the men that God created them to become. However, meeting expectations, everybody is a logical thinker. When you look at it and you see this guy has woken up to work hard, has not been able to make it, times and seasons have changed, do everything you can to stand in the gap. But the point is, what he gets, let it be shared in the home. What you get, let it be able to facilitate the home. Because those hard seasons happen. And it's important that you put that in your expectation list. That yes, today it may be this, tomorrow it could be that. And if it is that, then what should I do? Women, we've got many avenues. We can do a lot. I can tell you that for a fact. I've been to Gikomba, you've been to Gikomba, I've walked ties. I can tell you a lot of things. I've sold omena and all this and all that. But what am I saying? Women have got avenues, but they are okay as long as the man is also waking up to do something. But if the man, and most men are giving up hope too quickly.
Right.
Giving up hope too quickly. They are weak on the inside. Something small, it's like I gave up hope. I don't think it can work. So the women are looking like now they're wearing the trouser. Why? Because for them, they live for the hope because of several reasons and factors. So I want to say, everybody before they marry, they need to ask themselves, am I in a position to marry emotionally? And your first trainer, who are your parents, how good a job did they do? And that's why we say, go for premarital counseling.
Okay.
Before you say, I do, go for premarital counseling. Because some of these notions need to be rubbed off a man's and a woman's mind. So that now they write the right things about marriage.
What are some of these right things that we look at? Then what before I say I do, as we come to a close?
Of course, you have to be ready for, I think, as has been said, it is, we don't know. Many of us do not know our assignment. There is very little known. Either the ladies and the men and the women and the men, they don't know their assignment. You think love will do everything. Then suddenly there's a baby there. And you begin to realize, I have diapers to buy, I have schools to take care of, and you're not ready. And so the thing is, I would say, before you get married, go to school. Look for somebody who will talk to you what is required in that marriage. Number 2, marry somebody, whether you're a man or a woman, who is a team worker, somebody who will work with you. Sometimes I look at a guy like Moses. Moses was going nowhere at 80, working for the father-in-law. So this is a shamba boy, but he was carrying a vision. And so you need to ask yourself, you need to ask the person who is getting married to, whether you're a man or a woman, will you wait for this vision to become a reality? Because there are people, there are men, as she was saying, there are men who have been left because the vision has taken too long.
Okay.
And so they have a dream, and they can see it, and they are working hard towards it. But the vision has failed. Now, I'm trying to imagine,
Yes.
I'm trying to imagine Kibaki wanted to be a president at 33.
You'd give up myself.
Now, this woman is sitting down, and this guy is talking about being a president. And 40 years later, he's still not the president. But the woman was seeing there's a movement towards that direction. There are quite a number of men who are moving towards that direction. They may not have it all together. And some ladies have given up. Then in the middle, somebody else, when they're just about to break, the woman gives up. And another woman comes and takes over. And suddenly they are flourishing.
Okay.
So I'm saying, no. When you're getting married, I'm talking to a man who is getting married, ask the woman you are with, this is a vision that I have. I'm ready to do business this way. Not about laziness. I'm about to do 1, 2, 3 things. I have a vision to build a school, to build a hospital one day. As I work on this thing, I may be bringing not much. Will you be able to wait? If that's not the kind of person, please don't get married. And a woman don't just get married because somebody is driving a good car. The car can go tomorrow. Marry a person who has a vision that you can also be able to understand. Because Linda, you're working here because you know something about the vision of this organization.
That's true.
They may not pay you the way you want, but at least you can be able to see one day they will be where I wanted to be. So the thing is, look for somebody, whether you're a man or a woman, somebody who will team up with you and help each other to arrive where they're supposed to arrive.
In 30 seconds, now that we're extremely out of time, what would you say?
Marry a friend, and also, in both ways, add value.
Okay.
Add value to each other. Marry somebody who adds value to you. It could just be verbal. Tells you you're a good woman. You are going to make it. You're going somewhere. Not somebody who destroys the value in you. Yeah. If somebody destroys the value in you, flee. It's a fire.
Wow.
To blast.
That's an interesting way to end it. I'm surprised of how fast time runs.
Imagine.
Sometimes I feel like we've not even touched
a lot
of this, and it's a whole 1 hour.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much. Before you say I do, this is one episode I'll advise you, if you're watching into the broadcast right now, to just go back to our social media platforms and look at. There's much to learn, and of course there's something that at least is going to help you out if at all you're making that direction. Your story I do kuna watu wengine wanasema wamekataa lazima mwanaume acheze kama yeye. I don't know. It all depends on what it is. I'm actually trying to get people out what a big told waliambiwa kwa Bible, and therefore that's the very way. What's ni uchungu, nothing else. All right, so that's where we get to wind it up. Kindly check out on this episode if you are just tuning in. It was good having you, Dr. Jane and Dr. Julius Kimani. Thank you so much for the insights. It's always a pleasure to have you every Wednesday, as we look forward to another Wednesday where we'll still be discussing marital relationships, or technically the family setup. And it is good to say asante sana for taking care of, for tuning in. I don't know, huyu mtu hapa nyuma amenichanganya kabisa because ana condemn marriage sana. I don't know why. But anyway, so I look forward to see you again tomorrow. My name is Linda Alela. Bye-bye.